Every day two-thirds got to go. Double honors will flock the kings. Great light shining on the earth. The laws of Yah can't cut the corners. Tree of life is not stained on us. Watch me whip a chair. BHI, they put the blame on us.
Shalom, family. I'm your brother Mark. All praises to the Most High God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ahaya, Shar, Ahaya. Today, we just gonna go into just some history. It seems like we always have to be the ones to just, prove all things to everybody, right? I mean, you can just be online and be spewing out anything, or just be in this world and spew out anything, and people will take that before they take this word of the Lord, right? Um, so yeah, as the word says, prove all things, like it says in this holy book of this the book of the Lord, right? So today we just gonna go into just some quick knowledge through the precepts, and just some quick history, and just some artifacts just showing how long Israel was in Egypt. Um, Egypt still exists today. Not much there. I mean, the original people have been scattered. I mean, whether it be through Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, all those areas, right? The original people of the land, the Nubians, things like that. Um, People think, the Ishmaelites over there today are the original people of the land. And but just sticking the topic, we just want to show through the word, how long was Israel there? Is there anything that can show that they were there? A lot of people, you show that they were there, and that's still not enough, because their heart is in Egypt, right? Let's open it up with that. So their heart is still in Egypt. We're gonna go to let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 30, and let's start at verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. People, especially, so-called black people here in America, want to hold on to Egypt because it's black, it's gold, it's shiny. A lot of history there, the empire was big, it was great. All the movies, and they look at what happens, through the whitewashing of Hollywood and things like that, and just throughout history, that they just really think it's something in Egypt. But Egypt is done. Egypt is not coming back, right? You have nothing to look forward to. You're going to still trust in this system with Egypt, right? Our people have been there, and we're not going back there. It's over with. Some of our people still scattered in those places. We've mixed amongst the nations, but as for the most part, our people are scattered in more places around the world than just there. Let's go to verse 3, right? Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. If you listen to someone talk about Egypt, it's straight confusion. Oh, the sun worship, right? All the different things that go on. We have the Ankh. We moved pyramids with the Ankh. All this different chaos and madness and confusion that we see online. Yet they'll say that, we're practicing a religion, but they're believing on something with no answers for their future. It's witchcraft, it's idolatry, it's paganism, right? Is you dealing with the fallen angel worships. That's why you see the leaders of the earth still dealing with all this symbolism, dealing with all the witchcraft of ancient Egypt. If you look at what Edom is doing in Rome, right? You see them taking on that heritage, mixing it with their ancient practices they was doing in the land of Edom. I mean, these spirits that they're worshiping, this is nothing new. That's why you see a lot of the same things. But people are reverencing these people as gods, right? They're worshiping them. And the word talks about that. We're going to get that. Let's go to the book of Colossians. Excuse me. Let's go there, right? Let's go to the book of Colossians. We can get it. We're going to go to Colossians chapter 2 and verse, let's go verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. And that's what's going on. People philosophizing their way into people's heart, right? That sounds good. It feels good. Manifestation. Burn some sage and you own now, right? You got the bag. And it was all because you're giving it to the fallen gods, right? Let no man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. So it's all deceit. After the tradition of men, after the rudiments of this world, and not after Christ, right? So don't be worrying about following these people that's teaching you about anything other than Christ, because this is the truth. Israel waking up in these last days, connecting the dots through the Spirit of the Most High. You know, we always encourage and appreciate our brothers and sisters worldwide pushing this, because it's a lot to go in this, you know, not just against the nations or people that's against what we're pushing, but even amongst ourselves, right? You know, so we have to stay on that righteous path and doing the job like Isaiah 49:6 talks about, right? Waking up Israel, being a light to the Gentiles. Let's jump it down to verse 18. Let no man beguile you of your reward in a voluntary humility and worshiping of angels. They're worshiping fallen angels. Remember the ones that fell with Lucy, right? The ones that fell with Lucy when he took a third, that great dragon that took those angels with him. Read the book of Enoch. You know, some of our brothers don't want to read Enoch. Connecting the dots, right? These fallen spirits that's over these Gentile nations worships. But like Ecclesiastes 17:17 talks about, Israel is the Lord's portions. Intruding into those things which he hath not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind. Puffed up by your fleshly mind. They'll come after you with hypocrisy and say, you're believing on a religion, on a book. You can connect the dots to history. They're just believing on something because it sounds good. Why? Because they don't want to come to light. Like John chapter 3 talks about, St. John chapter 3, right? They don't want their deeds reproved. Light has come into the world, and men love darkness more than light. He gives you the way. He gives you commandments. It gives you feast days, holy days. Gives you prophecies. Gave you the blood to believe on, right? He's giving you his only begotten son, the first spirit made in the heavens, into a seed of Jacob. Like the word says, go to, let's write these down, family. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9 and verse, I believe it's 8. The Lord sent a word into Jacob, and it hath lightened upon Israel. He sent the word into Jacob, the seed of Jacob, right? He sent Christ, that spirit, into the seed of Jacob. And this is our light. All this other stuff is just here in the meantime. But more on that history, right? Let's open it up at Genesis 11. Let's go to Genesis 11, family. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. And you know, jot this down. You coming across this video, you a part of FICM, wherever you at, you know, it's time for us it's not enough laborers. And we got to do this for the right reasons toward the Most High, right? To wake his people up. Let's go to verse 11. And Terah, let's go 11 and 31 in the book of Genesis. Then Terah took Abram, his son, remember his name was Abram before it was Abraham, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. So remember, Abram went from what? Ancient Babylon, right? Ancient Babylon, which is Iraq today, right? And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, which we know is Israel today, because we know that during the time of Joshua, Moses, right, went into the land, warring against those Gergesites, Perizzites, Jebusites, all the giants, right? The Nephilim seed, right? And we know Smithsonian dug up all the artifacts, the giant what do you call them? Fossils in the earth that they've dug up and hid this history, right? People see the movies, they're okay with watching the Marvel programming, but they won't believe on this word, right? To go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. Haran, which is Turkey today, when you do the history, right? So you see, Abram went what? Started off Iraq, Turkey, came down, or came, Salakia, went through Babylon, Canaan, then Turkey, right? I'll say Iraq. I don't want to just say Babylon. And then ended up there, right? The same way, the Most High brought us from Egypt. We went down, then crossed the Red Sea into Saudi Arabia, then went up. Remember, Edom was right up under Israel, and then we wanted to pass through. That's Deuteronomy chapter 2. He said no. The Edomites said no, right? Or they would come out against us, and went to get that land of Canaan, right? So just to give you some geography, I know some of our people are good at geography, and some of us aren't. But let's read verse 32. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So he died in Turkey, right? Let's go to chapter 12. Let's get to it. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Abram's a blessing, right? The father of the faith, right? And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Come on, family. I know some of us got the doctrine of the Pharisees out there, and Christ warned us about the leaven of the Pharisees, right? Speaking of the Pharisees' doctrine, when you read the Gospels, right? But look, how you gonna have a rulership, Israel? So we gonna have the same exact type of kingdom that Edom got, that the nations got, to where we destroy people to look good, to feel good, to be on top? No, we not them type of people. The Most High's kingdom gonna be set up, of course, Christ, the disciples, Israel, the Most High, right? And then the nations up under that in righteousness. So on one side you have the Christian church got it wrong. Oh, it doesn't matter. Then on the other side you got some of our people who are part of this awakening that's teaching, they have no part. When we know, like Jeremiah 9, I believe it's 24, 25. Look, all the uncircumcised in the heart is gonna perish, right? Even Judah. So and there's a remnant of Edom that he's gonna bring through, right? Amos chapter 9, right? So let's keep it going. Verse 4. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Right? Let's jump it down a little bit. Let's finish going. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. So, right, went up, Haran, came down into Canaan, right? Basically the opposite of how Israel came, right? They went this way, Israel went this way, right? When we went to get the land. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moriah, and the Canaanite was in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land, and there builded an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Lord, and called the name of the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. Right? Let's get into them going into Egypt. And Abram sojourned, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. Let's get into this, right? Procession of Amu. The procession of Amu of Shu, or the procession of Asiatics. Because when we think of Asia, as most of us, black folk, we just think, you know, Jackie Chan, right? Something like that. We thinking of Bruce Lee and them, right? We don't know that, look, that's part of Asia, the land of Israel, right? All of that, that's part of the continent. As commonly referred to by Egyptologists today, at Beni Hassan, in an ancient Egyptian painting on the northern wall of Kumhotep II's tomb in the Beni Hassan necropolis, dated to the 6th year of 12th dynasty Pharaoh Sesostris II, and it's given before Christ, 1892. The Amu in this scene have been identified as Asiatic nomadic traders who are sometimes considered Hyksos, or at least their forerunners. The group, led by a man called Abshah, is depicted bringing offerings to the deceased Kumhotep II. Let's get it. Overview. This scene identified is part of the third register from the top of the painting on the northern wall of the main chamber of Tomb 3 of the mortuary complex belonging to Kumhotep II. The accompanying inscription mentioned that there were 37 persons, but the scene depicts only 15, 8 men, 4 women, and 3 children. These people are depicted with a different skin color than almost all the other people on the mural. Their yellow skin was a standard Egyptian artistic convention to differentiate the Mediterranean world foreigners from the Egyptian men. On the right is a large, nah, that's not the one I want to get. Let's move it down. Let's move it down. Let's go right here. Third, the group seems to be extended family of traders. While the inscription mentions eye paint, their equipment suggests a band of traveling metal workers. That might be appropriate since the most common material for eye paint in early Egypt was malachite, a green ore of copper, well known in the Syro-Palestinian region. The home of the Amu was situated to the east of Palestine. In this mural, some have suggested a representation of the arrival of Jacob's sons in Egypt to buy corn, but there's no evidence for the support of this theory, but they know so much about it, right? So we can get so much Roman Empire history. We can go British Museum and they'll tuck that history of the Israelites just off in a corner in a back room for people that don't know what's going on, right? But they always want to hide the history, like what does it talk? Psalms 83, right? The tumult that was made. Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So, of course, what does Satan do? He sprinkle a little truth in there with his lies, right? The serpent people, right? The serpent people running the world. The Amalekites, the sons of Edom, right? Ruling this world. So getting back to it. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12. We won't be long breaking this down, family. Let's go to Exodus 12 and 40 in the KJV. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. But now we're going to go to the Septuagint. Right? From when the Greeks colonized us and translated the holy books. That's what a Septuagint is. Translated it into Greek, right? Once the Grecians came on the scene. We're going to go to Exodus 12 and 40 in here. And the sojourning of the children of Israel while they sojourned in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan was 430 years. Why? Because you know that what? After Abram went to Egypt with Sarai, right? When he went there, right, for the famine, where were we born at? The 12 tribes, right? So now, let's go to, got some more on that. Always going back and forth. Remember, went back to Canaan, then during the time of Jacob, we went back to Egypt because of the famine. fact, let's go to Exodus chapter 1, in case we got some new learners online. Now, these are the names of the children of Israel. Remember, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan, and Naphtali, and Gad, and Asher. All the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already because they sold him, right? Israel selling each other out. No new thing under the sun. These mighty people, right? These 12 tribes of Yasharal. This is, of course, a depiction of Israel on the walls of Lachish. But, of course, they want to hide this, right? They cover the faces of the judges thereof. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? Job 9 and 24. That's what that talks about. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 19. Yeah, let's go to Isaiah chapter 19. Because the Most High is not done with Egypt. There's still some idols that he got to take care of over there when you read second Esdras. We're going to get that though. But let's go to let's go chapter 19 in Isaiah. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Remember, all this movement going on over there in the so-called Middle East. All this, what used to be called the Near East, all this movement going on, them putting certain military in place. We thinking of it as of right now, what they're over there trying to, man, we're trying to watch the words with the page. I don't know why they coming for us. We small time, right, family? But we must be big time because we're dealing with the spirit of the Most High. But they keep flagging our page, so we're trying to watch the words. But what's going on over there? They are campaigning for the war of Megiddo, the war of Armageddon, as it says in the scriptures, right? They are surrounding that. This little stuff they got going on right now, remember, Edom and the serpent plans years ahead. Years ahead. While you was thinking it was about some towers in 9/11, they was preparing for this right now. You talking about, what, 23 years later. And then even before that, they had the plan to go and do the whole 9/11 years before that. So that goes to show that Edom, got that wisdom from the serpent. They plan years ahead. Man cannot control this earth by itself. That's why you see they're dealing with the same spirits of ancient Egypt. All the Gentile nations. It's just Esau's time to rule, right? And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor. City against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Read 2nd Esdras chapter 15, 2nd Esdras chapter 16, right? Matter of fact, let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15. The great tribulation that's coming to this earth, while no one's preparing. Of course, Judah, Israel, we out there just going on like nothing's shifting right now. We going on like nothing is shifting. And we have to be prepared for it. But our people out there, we were in Egypt a long time, and the Most High is not done with Egypt. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, in verse 14, it reads, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. Let's jump it up to 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. His people don't belong in Egypt. Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, I believe it's chapter 40, right? Always telling us, don't go to Egypt. Stop fleeing for Egypt. Even when we was in Egypt, all them times, Abraham, Israel, it's always just a quick stop for us. Resource type of thing, right? It's in America called that great city, which is called Sodom and Egypt. We here for a time. We're not here to stay. Jumping down to verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Jumping down to 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. The great tribulation that it talks about in the book of Matthew chapter 24. But we're going to go to Galatians chapter 3 and 16. So remember, the time that Abram got the promises up until us leaving Egypt is 430 years, right? Trying to get to just flicking the pages, right? Let's go to Galatians chapter 3, verse 16. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of the Most High God in Christ, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. So remember, when Abraham was given the law until the time of us leaving ancient Egypt, this 430 years. That's why in the Septuagint, what does it say? Let's read that part again. Let's read the Septuagint again. Exodus 12 and 40. And the sojourning of the children of Israel while they sojourned in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan was 430 years. The Bible, always with the knockout punches, right? All praise to the Most High. Let's get one more. Let's get that one in Matthew. Just showing that the precepts of 2nd Esdras chapter 15 links right in with Matthew 24. And just all this about Egypt. We're not worried about Egypt. Egypt is done. There's no promises for Egypt. The original Egyptians aren't even in the land no more. This is the only thing that tell you why and what's to come. But our people were there for 400, right? Well, about 200 years. But given the law, that's another 200. That's why it's 430. Hope you following me. All praises, right? Let's go to Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Get generators, get food, get water. We not on here teaching no fear. We just saying it's deliverance, right? Or you just want to keep on seeing the destruction of these 12 tribes of Israel, even before you knew it was Israel. You've been seeing destruction on these people for a long time. You've been seeing aren't you tired of them ruling over you? You know, do you want them to keep ruling over your children's children? It's time for our people to wake up, put on those holy garments, right? Put on the helmet of salvation, you know, put on your armor, put your armor on. So 430 years, right? That's what that's going into. Egypt is not for us. It's confusion there. There's no power there. If it was power there, ancient Egyptians would have never failed. So with that, all praise to the Most High, family. Shalom.